topics, right? So Jesus is out and about with the disciples, and they're in a boat. They arrive at this country. Immediately a man encounters them, and he speaks to them. He says, and he's sort of like complaining. It's sort of out of kilter. I'm not quite sure how exactly it happened in the story. It's not that clear. But the man is begging Jesus, don't torment me. Now we have to assume he said he's been filled with demons, or a demon. And apparently maybe it's the demon that's speaking. Because the man, obviously, why would the man want to be, not tormented, He'd love for Jesus to do that, to get them out. And then when Jesus speaks to the guy, he asks him his name, and instead of the man having a singular name, it's legion. So legion, like a group of soldiers, many. There are many demons within him, okay? And the demons apparently started speaking, begging not to be released. Actually, they said, send us over into that herd of pigs. And you need to think about pigs in the Jewish world, okay? And this is not, he's not in Jerusalem though, but think about pigs, and what that kind of thing would spark in a Jewish mind. And then all of a sudden the pigs ran off the plain and down a steep embankment, and they all drowned, killing themselves. People came out, they saw what had happened, they saw the man healed, and they all ran away in fear. And the man wanted to join Jesus, so they said, get out of here, Jesus. And the man wanted to join him. He said, no, go and tell others what God has done for you. And what does it say he did? He told them that Jesus had done it. So Jesus ordered him to say what God did, and he said what Jesus did. All right, now in John, we would have heard Jesus saying, go and tell what I have done. But in the book of Luke, we see Jesus being far more humble and sort of pointing to God more than at himself, okay? And so he says, go tell what God did. And this guy says, well, everybody, look at what Jesus did. Okay, so this idea of demons. And we hear people all the time describing others who have issues or something. Oh, those are his demons. Those are her demons. When we say something like that, what are we describing? Faces? Vices. Mental illness. Problems, yeah. Anything else? So we see it as that. Now, tell me something. Because you read it and it was described as demons, and it's coming out of Jesus' mouth and everything, do you believe that there were actual demons in this person? There's a no. Is there any yeses in here? I'll go with a yes, all right. Do I hear a maybe? Of course. So then I'll ask you now, because this is relevant. Are there then demons present in the world today? Yes? Yes? Yeah. What about this one right over here? She doesn't think demons is the right word. That's okay. This is great. This is a good discussion. This is what we're supposed to be doing. Because if we read it back then, and let's say, it existed then, why wouldn't the same situations exist now? I mean, it's not as if technology has, just because technology is there, changes what's going on in the supernatural or in the body or the mind, okay? They're humans. They were just like us. They felt what you're feeling in your body right now is what those people felt in their body back then. Remember this. You are connected to them. David.
The body controls the mind, the mind controls the body.
That's smart. David says the body controls the mind controls the body. It's a back and forth, isn't it? It very much is. My body can tell me I'm going to have a terrible day because it's aching or something like that. And my mind can overrule that at times, or the other way around. I can have a terrible attitude, but I can wake up and my body's feeling fantastic. And so, heck with my attitude, let's go have a good time. So this idea of demons. And the fact that, remember, they for whatever reason, and I don't know why they would want to be released. Why wouldn't they want to be released into another human being? That's a weird thing. They asked specifically, would you cast us out of this man and into the herd of swine? So they know he wouldn't do it into another human being. So here's a good thing. So if they wanted to inherit, they knew he wouldn't put him into a human. So they begged him to put them in the swine. What does that tell you about a demon? Equal opportunity employer? Or employee? Apparently, a demon cannot exist outside of a host. You see that? So they begged at least to go into the swine. So presumably, I don't know if they can remove themselves from a host and go into another one, but you got to wonder how he got into the man in the first place, right? So they go into the swine. So what do we know about Jewish culture and pigs? Right, they're unclean. They're not supposed to eat anything that's pig-natured or touch it or anything about that. So I think that's sort of I don't know how significant a thing as that is, but maybe to a Jewish listener it would have been very significant. Going into that. Well, that's where they deserved to go, right? Because we're not going to touch them, and that's a good thing. But then, for whatever reason, it's interesting, the herd went in and killed itself. Why, you know, if the demons are in control, why would they send their hosts to their death? Maybe it's a signal of the complete domination that Jesus had over them. You know, maybe it's the defeat and the destruction of a symbol of the defeat and the destruction that Jesus will reign over anything that is in our midst, anything that is troubling us. And they knew that they couldn't survive because Jesus would just track them down yet again. And so they chose, I guess, to die with the swine. That's my best guess. I don't know if there's some theological answer to that one. I didn't dig that deep. I was hoping you'd have the answer, for crying out loud. You're a good, deep group of people, right? So then we move on in the story. This is a very complicated story, don't you think? And Jesus finds them, the people. They come out, and they see the man standing at Jesus, or sitting at Jesus' feet. Who sits at someone's feet? What's happening in that picture? A servant. A servant? What else, maybe? A child. Someone who is being humble, humbling themselves, and saying, just teach me. Just tell me what I need to do. And there he is, and he's in his right mind, and the people see him, and they were afraid. We see this, I think, a lot. What does it mean? Because do you think this has anything to do with the concept of a fear of God? Or you think it's a separate thing? They were afraid that they saw this man healed. Is that something to itself? Or do you think that has something to do with this concept that we sometimes hear of the fear of God? Could be for the fear of the power of God. Any other ideas? This is a tough one. David.
God will only let you handle what He wants you to handle. He won't give you any more than that.
God will let you handle what God wants you to handle and won't give you any more, is what David says. A fear of change. Even for the better. Ooh, wow, that's a big one. Because, you know, we become very comfortable with our limitations at times. It's because we've lived our lives so, it's become such a part of our rhythm and our natural way of being. Sometimes we be comfortable with our maladies, right? And we don't want to change. There's a fear of change, even if it's for the better. And that's very prevalent in the world. You better believe it. It's very prevalent. Then all of the people of the surrounding country of the Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave them, for they were seized with great fear. So there we see it again. Now, we don't often hear the word the nation of the Gerasenes. We hear it a couple times in the Bible. So I think maybe Linda has caught on to something very interesting here. This idea of a fear of change. Okay? So, do you think, or can you come up with an example where someone might be afraid to change for the better?
Even
Addiction. Can you tell me a little more about that?
people are afraid to leave it because it's so comfortable, even though it's killing them.
It can be so comfortable, even though it's killing them. It's what they know. It's what they found themselves able to find. They're able to control and know exactly when relief is. And so that's not so much true, I think, if you're an addict and you are then forced to not use. You have to turn to something else, right, to find your comfort. Okay, and that's a difficult thing. Anything other than addiction, you think? David?
We don't want to change where we live. Most of us are cars or money or jobs or anything else.
So we don't want to change the home.
We don't want to change our house.
Right, we don't want to change our house. Maybe it's not even a healthy situation that's going on, There are some people who won't change that at all. And instead of finding something healthy or living in a new place, it's like home is home is home. And I don't want to change. So we can see that there's a fear of change, even when it's going to be for the better. And then we see Jesus telling this man, return to your home, which we assume is in Gerasene, and declare how much God has done for you. And so he went away and he proclaimed to the city how much Jesus had done for him. All right, so Millicent noticed that right away. What might be a problem if this guy's running around saying what Jesus had to do for him? Any problem, or is it good? Because Jesus is God's messenger on earth, that would be a good thing. It would be sort of like an endorsement, right? Could scare people. Why would it scare people? You're onto something there. Good. Why would it? Somebody's doing miraculous things. They have power over demons. Looked like you were going to say something. It's a control issue. Yes. What if he wants to come and change me? Or change the fact that I control the spice trade? What if he has this power? He can get rid of a demon? Well, then presumably, even though I know I am ripping off everybody in town and getting away with it, because I'm the only one who has it, maybe he'll come and he'll change that. So there's this fear, of course, this power that Jesus has. So, I think what we might want to how we might want to end this is a caution, because I think I said in the prayer here, I said, exercise our demons while we put on a good face, this face of stability, we have to admit we're just as frail and in need as those we see who are affected, where an outward sign is showing something different. Pray for the humility to call out our demons and instead put Jesus within. You see, there's a fear, of course, of the unknown. There's a fear of the future, or not so much of the future, but us not having control of it, right? And so this idea that Jesus might change us. I think at times people, I've heard people say, well, why would I want to become a part of a church or a religion? I'd become like a puppet. I'd be doing what the minister says, or I'd be doing what I would be. It's interesting because they seem to be assenting to the idea that there's a power greater than themselves, even though they will say, I don't believe in God, but if I join a church, I'm going to be a puppet. So it's sort of a backwards way of realizing that these people actually have some sort of maybe not a faith, but they have a fear. But what about us who believe? What are you going to do? Are you turning to Jesus? I don't know. Have you turned to the idea of Jesus that maybe Jesus can figure out the things that I can't figure out? Or help me understand or accept the thing that I can't figure out so that I'm not tormented? That might be my demon, is I can't figure something out. But Jesus is giving us a way and trying to prove to us. Turn to him, the incorruptible one. He's the incorruptible one. He's the one who won't shade the truth. He will tell you the truth, but he'll do it lovingly, and he'll do it with a way that will improve you no matter what. You may lose that thing that you hold so dearly to, and it might even be something that's expensive. But he might be showing you a way to live a life that is far more precious because you're no longer burdened by that thing you found so precious. Well, my friends, I pray then that you take a little nibble out of that idea today. Take a nibble out of it. Apply it to your eating, your drinking, your playing, your financial status, your place in society, where you are with a friendship. Why don't you just ask God with all your heart for that healing thing and not be so afraid that something might actually come. And it might be right in front of your face. And grasp a hold. You see, because if we got something held so tightly onto something, this is like a Buddhist theory. We're clinging to something here, but the answer is right there. I need to be grabbing a hold of it here. But if I'm so tense holding on to this over here, I can't get my hands on that which I really need. So I pray that you are someone of faith today. Take that nibble and make life so much better for you. May the Lord be with you.